Hello, you're tuning into VTV News live from Hanoi. This is Michael Liu, and here are the headlines for our bulletin. APEC 2017 committee begins work preparing for the important international event. Experts explore dimensions for technological application into education. How can technology revolutionize studying methods? Vietnamese culture celebrated in the United States, promoting traditional beauty to the American community. More in just a moment. Now, first off, the first session of the National Committee for the APEC Summit 2017 opened in Hanoi on Tuesday, following its inception. Addressing the launch ceremony, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng praised Vietnam's hosting of APEC events as a new step in the country's international integration and the stimulation of economic development.
Attending the event, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng urged the National Committee for APEC 2017 to successfully prepare for the upcoming tasks. During 2017, the committee will organize about 100 conferences. He also highlighted that Vietnam's hosting the event would promote the country's image to APEC's 21 member economies, which represents around 39% of the world population, 57% of the total global GDP, and 47% of the world trade.
APEC brings great economic cooperation opportunities. Among the 15 free trade agreements we have signed and are about to sign, 13 of them are with member of countries of APEC. 13 of APEC's members are also our strategic partners and comprehensive partners.
The Prime Minister urged the committee to gather new ideas in boosting cooperations between APEC countries in 2017.
This is not the first time we've hosted APEC, but APEC 2017 will be a chance for us to promote the new image of Vietnam to the APEC community. So it is important that we have a good human resource to organize important activities for this year's event.
At the first meeting, the committee discussed major plans for the year and the roadmap towards the APEC summit in 2 years' time. The committee, which consists of leaders from 25 ministries and cities, will coordinate Vietnam's hosting of the APEC summit in 2017.
Deputy Prime Minister and Deputy Head of the National Steering Committee for Corruption Prevention, Winston Phúc, on Tuesday received Wong Hong Quan, Director of Singapore's Corrupt Practices Investigation Bureau in Hanoi. Deputy Prime Minister Phúc told his guests that Vietnam considers settling complaints and denunciations and anti-corruption efforts as a key task and a priority in building a modern, professional, effective and transparent civil service. The Deputy Prime Minister went on to say that the government was keen for investigative agencies from both countries to step up anti-corruption work. Director Wong Hong Quan hailed Vietnam's anti-corruption initiatives over recent years and said he hoped both agencies from the two countries should continue to share experiences and strengthen their anti-corruption institutions. Also, Singapore's Corrupt Practices Investigation Bureau had a working session with Vietnam's Government Inspectorate on Tuesday in Hanoi. One of the highlighted topics was exchanging experience to enhance effectiveness of anti-corruption activities.
As Vietnam is integrating further into the world, corruption is becoming increasingly complex. Therefore, the Government Inspectorate believes cooperation between Vietnam and Singapore on anti-corruption activities, especially in extradition and judicial assistance, is necessary.
Singapore has always given Vietnam judicial support, including on extradition issues. Cooperation between the two countries in terms of official training and information sharing has been very effective. It is also in accordance with the ASEAN Agreement on Judicial Cooperation.
One of the main issues facing anti-corruption activities is a low rate of asset recovery. According to the Vietnamese inspectors, Singapore has assisted Vietnam in many cases, such as one involving Giang Kim Dat, former acting business manager of Vinashin. The two countries' officials worked together to uncover Das $3.6 million apartment bought with dirty money.
As the world is more globalized and criminals use national boundaries, etc., to their advantage, all the more there needs to be better cooperation between different agencies across countries. So like in Singapore and Vietnam, we always have very good cooperation. So when it comes to issues such as asset recovery, etc., I think this is where we need to have that sort of open communication and to be able to help one another in the various anti-corruption cases that we face.
Bribery comes in many forms.
20 years ago, Singapore faced serious corruption. But with comprehensive and determined measures, the country is now ranked 7th among the least corrupt countries in the world by Transparency International. It, along with other high-ranking clean countries, offers strong examples that Vietnam can learn from to enhance the country's anti-corruption activities.
Hanoi's Consumer Price Index, or CPI, rose by 0.18% in July compared to the previous month and by 0.77% year-on-year. The Hanoi Statistics Office has announced this. In detail, 9 out of the 11 major commodity groups increased in price, most notably vegetables, housing, utilities and construction materials. On education and telecommunications did not record a rise. Meanwhile, the gold price index fell by 3.75%, while the US dollar increased by 0.01% compared to June. It has been 1 year since the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development piloted its tuna value chain plan, but the plan has so far failed to benefit fishermen. The following report sheds some light on what's been standing in the way of its success.
Bahai Joint Stock Company was selected for the pilot tuna value chain program initiated 1 year ago. Under the plan, it signed a cooperation contract with 8 fishing crews in Phú Yên province. But after 1 year, the plan has gone nowhere. One of the reasons is that fishermen can't access loans despite a government decree permitting banks to offer credit to fishermen.
The fishermen also need to borrow money from individual traders. They need to sell their products to these people, so they are not really participating in the value chain.
Contrary to expectations, tuna prices have fallen by 10 to 30%, and only 70% of fishermen were able to break even or make a profit. Both fishermen and enterprises are hesitant about joining the program.
Don't just rely on policies to apply the tuna value chain model. Use market mechanisms instead. All stakeholders should adjust their roles to meet market demand.
Experts believe that enterprises should be center of the value chain, stipulating quality requirements and publicizing profit-sharing plans for the fishermen.
While all stakeholders remain of equal importance, enterprises should be defined as a leading link in the value chain.
The value chain model helped to export the country's finest batch of tuna to the Japanese market a year ago, with prices 3 times higher than usual. To return to this success, resolving credit bottlenecks and promoting the role of enterprises within the value chain are the next priorities.
The Mekong Delta region contributes 90% of the country's total rice exports volume. The consistency and quality of the export rice, however, remains a major concern. What is the country's rice hub doing to raise the bar when it comes to quality? More to follow.
The Mekong Delta region has 4.3 million hectares dedicated to growing rice. Hundreds of rice varieties are being grown, with some localities growing more than 40 varieties. Local agriculturalists say the abundance in varieties has deducted from the quality of the total harvest, and the inconsistency in exported rice varieties needs to be resolved. Farmers together with agriculturalists are working towards reorganizing fields to develop cooperatives that specialize in certain types of varieties for export. The region's 13 provinces are currently piloting production areas of high-quality varieties. In the past 15 years, The Mekong Delta's Institute of Rice Research has conducted studies on 46 potential high-quality rice varieties for export.
We look for qualities like being resistant to pests as well as being adaptable to major weather changes. Such qualities will help rice to adapt to different localities and help produce larger quantities that are high in quality for export. Our ultimate goal is to create varieties that are more advanced in quality. Farmers won't have to increase the area devoted to cultivation, but with the new breeds, they'll be able to increase production capacity and gain better incomes.
Thailand is currently the world's top rice exporter. The country reserves about a third of its total rice growing area to growing high-quality varieties for export. The Southeast Asian nation has been able to build a brand name, with the value of some Thai varieties outweighing Vietnamese varieties by a few $100s per ton. Rice researchers in the Mekong Delta region, therefore, looks to not only pushing production of high-quality rice, but also developing a trademark for Vietnamese rice, contributing to a brighter future for Vietnam's rice exports and higher incomes for local farmers.
A community in Phú Yên Province's Song Hinh commune has applied a new model which allocates forests to organizations in order to restore the woodland. Let's find out more about this model in the following.
Hòn Quế Mountain in Kit village of Song Hinh commune is seen as a natural shield protecting people from natural disasters. Nevertheless, some 60 hectares of forest has already been cut down by local people. This has had a negative effect on people due to climatic changes, a move that has encouraged the residents of Kit village to start growing earleaf acacia in order to restore the forested land.
The reforestation depends on the community and the authorities.
Apart from the support from the authorities, the care for the seedlings and saplings are under control of the community group. Each person in the community plays a vital role in restoring the forested land, and in return, the woodland will provide economic opportunities for the local community.
Restoration of the forest was made possible thanks to the agreement of the whole community and authorities.
The idea to restore the lost forests received great support from the locals. According to local authorities, many people helped them to convince others to join the campaign.
At the beginning, we encountered some negative reactions from local people. However, after we explained to them in more details, the villagers understood and returned the land to the authority.
270 hectares of land has been retrieved. Soon, trees will be planted here. According to the plan, the total area of lost forest will be restored within a 2-year period, and the authorities are working with the local community to ensure this becomes a reality.
An air route connecting the Mekong hub of Cần Thơ and the Thai capital Bangkok was officially launched on Tuesday. The flight from Bangkok to Cần Thơ, operated by Thai Vietjet Air, landed successfully at Cần Thơ International Airport after an hour and 10 minutes. Citizens in Cần Thơ and other provinces in the Mekong Delta can now travel to Thailand in much less time than before. There's one flight offered every 5 days, with prices starting at 2.7 million Vietnam dong or $123 for a one-way ticket. The launch of this route is expected to promote tourism and trade cooperation between the two cities. Cần Thơ International Airport served 225,000 passengers in the first half of 2015, up 72% compared to the same period last year. How's the Vietnam dong performing against other currencies at the moment? Let's check out the following charts. Still to come on VTV News, experts explore dimensions for technological application into education. How can technology revolutionize studying methods? Vietnamese culture celebrated in the United States, promoting traditional beauty to the American community. Stay tuned. The Office of the National Assembly, in association with USAID, is hosting a conference on the National Assembly's Q&A sessions in Da Nang City. The two-day conference is chaired by Deputy Chairman of the National Assembly, Huy Ngọc Sơn. The event aims to increase constitutional effectiveness in the National Assembly's Q&A sessions. Participants are reviewing existing issues and proposing new parameters for questioning in the National Assembly. The attendants also propose changes to the National Assembly's monitoring operations. These proposals will be filtered and sent to the National Assembly for debate in November. Now, a symposium on e-government with the theme E-Government, E-Health and Intelligent Transportation System opened this morning in Ho Chi Minh City. The event serves as a platform for experts and leaders at all levels to promote the deployment of e-government programs and projects in order to enhance the effectiveness of e-government, reform administrative procedures. Participants at the seminar also discussed ways to boost e-health and how organisations and authorised agencies can optimise the effectiveness of e-health service delivery. They also share initiatives to enhance e-government capacities and smart city strategies, including ideas to develop an intelligent transportation system while reducing the complexity and cost. Meanwhile, in Vietnam's IT sector as well, studying in virtual classes, teachers work with students who are hundreds of miles away, checking students' attendance by using drone. This was just one of the education applications on display at EdTech Lab on Tuesday in Hanoi. The event was a chance for experts and application developers to discuss education technology and opportunities for Vietnam.
This is an Oculus Rift VR headset. This headset brings users into a virtual class where their movements mimicked by virtual characters.
It's like a video game I usually play. I can freely interact with objects in the virtual class and learn easily. It's interesting. I can play more while I learn more.
This is Emotive, a device which allows users to use their thoughts to command computers.
It measures, I'd imagine it's measuring brain waves from specific parts of the brain, and it's training the program to interpret an individual's brain signals into specific commands like up, left, down, right, drop, forward, backwards, stuff like that. Stuff like this will help a lot of really smart people who can't communicate with people, like Stephen Hawking, get to the opportunity to learn and express themselves.
These are just some of the cutting-edge technologies that application developers are researching and applying in Vietnam. These technologies can be found in universities around the world. They excite students and pave the way for application development.
There's a lot of money globally spent on EdTech. Last year was $2.3 billion. EdTech investment has grown by about 200% since 2009. Maybe 20 years ago, technology was a room. It was a room with computers that you would go to and use for word processing or something. And now technology is actually in the classroom. Everybody has a mobile device.
Once implemented, these innovations are expected to bring a new breeze to Vietnam's conventional teaching methods.
It can help connect teachers around the world to millions of students. It can solve issues like the lack of teachers and teaching facilities.
Education is a key factor to high-skilled human resources, in which technology plays an important role. Investment in technology, especially information technology, is one of the key parts of the action plan to reform education that Vietnam Ministry of Education and Training issued last year.
11 Vietnamese delegates are attending the second French Language World Forum in Liège, Belgium from July the 20th to the 23rd. The forum has attracted more than 1,500 teachers and students of the French language from around the globe.
The Vietnamese delegation, made up of young teachers and students from universities across the country, presented a project on tourism promotion in French. The project used popular social platforms, including YouTube and Facebook, with the aim of creating tourism products in the French language to introduce Da Nang to international friends.
There are not so many websites in French about Da Nang. As a teacher, I discussed this with my students, and we came up with a project to promote tourism in Da Nang for the French language community. We really want to develop the project in class and engage the students. It has also helped students realize the importance of the language while learning how to promote famous Vietnam sites to the world.
The second French Language World Forum focused on the role of youths in developing creative and innovative projects through the use of French on a global scale. I think that this is an excellent presentation. It is also an excellent project for class use. This will engage more French learners and help promote the tourism sector in Vietnam. Held by the International Organization of La Francophonie and Wallonie-Brussels, this year's forum features 130 innovative projects and nearly 100 events in the fields of education, economics, French language, and citizens' rights. The event has provided an excellent opportunity for participants to meet and exchange innovative ideas.
Channel News Asia officially opened a correspondent office in Hanoi on Tuesday, its 14th office in Southeast Asia and East Asia. With a new office in Hanoi, Channel News Asia will be able to provide more extensive and authentic coverage of social development and events in Vietnam. This will contribute greatly to the wider picture of Asia that the channel is trying to portray to the rest of the world. This is also an important step in the Southeast Asian media industry as the region is heading towards the ASEAN Economic Community in 2015. Channel News Asia will be able to capture Vietnam's perspective on international integration. Its content is currently broadcast to over 25 countries and territories in Asia and Australia. Vietnamese cultural events will take place in the US cities of Washington, D.C. and New York from August the 8th to the 12th to celebrate the 20th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two countries. The information was announced by representatives from the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism and the US Embassy in Vietnam at a press conference in Hanoi yesterday. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of these cultural events scheduled for the US next month.
Denim has been a part of U.S. fashion since the 1960s. This popular fabric has been combined with Vietnamese silk to form a traditional Vietnamese áo dài. With this new collection, designer Minh Hạnh wants to send a message of strong bilateral cooperation during the upcoming Vietnamese Culture Days in the United States.
I don't want others to look at Vietnam as a victim of war and its consequences. I want U.S. people to look at Vietnam in a new light. Vietnam is developing strongly. It's a modern country now, and Vietnamese fashion is proof of that.
Vietnamese Culture Days in the United States will be held at John Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. It is the busiest performing arts facility in the United States and annually hosts about 2,000 performances for audiences totaling nearly 2 million.
We think this is wonderful. As much as in my office we work to help Vietnamese people understand American society and culture, we also really want Americans to understand Vietnamese society and culture.
The Vietnamese Culture Days in the United States will also feature work by fashion designers Lan Huong, Quang Japan, and Chu La. Another highlight will be ethnic music and dancing performed by the Vietnam Contemporary Art Theatre and the Vietnam National Academy of Music.
A series of classical music concerts will be running across major cities in Vietnam in early August. This year's agenda will have a strong focus on revolutionary music. Renowned Vietnamese musicians such as saxophonist Trần Mạnh Tuấn, violinist Bùi Công Duy and singer Nhật Thùy will be taking part in the musical extravaganza. Over the past 18 years, the series has played an important role in promoting classical music to the Vietnamese public. Profits made from ticket sales will be used to support talented young Vietnamese musicians. This year's event will reach audiences in Hanoi on August the 5th to the 6th, Da Nang on the 9th and Ho Chi Minh City on the 11th. What may the weather bring tomorrow? Let's find out in our following forecast. That's it for this edition of VTV News. Now do log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. Goodbye and stay tuned for our last news bulletin of the day.